Well, aloha, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to PWT Talks NXT. I'm your host. I'm Kelly Wells, and we are talking about NXT for, I don't know, what month and year is it?
January
January 13th,
2026.
2026. I'm here. Not only was I not able to do New Year's Eve, I wasn't able to watch it. So stuff got spoiled for me. I do know everything that happened on it. But I wasn't able to watch it. This has been a bear of a month. Nate is out sick. I am in sick. David and I, right before we went on, said we are both loaded with Benadryl. I got more in me now, so hopefully we'll battle through this thing together. But yeah, bummer. Nate is missing the show. He does not miss it often, but and I am flying to Dallas tomorrow morning for a card show that is starting at the worst possible time, given that I got my seasonal stuff happening. But wrestling waits for no man, and indeed, I'm just a man. So our main event was Joe Hendry versus Dion Lennox in a no DQ match, 13 minutes and 24 seconds. Longest match on the show. Although this was more an angle than a match, they did get into the no DQ stuff late in this. Got some chairs involved, got some brass knuckles involved. They actually got enough things involved that I thought it's not believable that any of these things are not finishing the match. Like a brass knuckles shot has historically finished every match, but guys were kicking out of finishers on top of chairs. And then it could only be finished by Tony D'Angelo showing up, giving us no emotion, no character, no anything. And I can't help but think they'd actually have something here if there was a single thing interesting about Tony D'Angelo. Anyway, I'm Kelly Wells. I'm your host. And I will throw to you, David, to introduce yourself and talk main event.
Well, thank you very much, Kelly. Yes, I am subbing for Nate tonight. My name is David Miller. I do the alt perspective NXT, and also cover Evolve on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, I am digging Evolve fairly well. I'll fall 1-2 months behind at a time, and then just power through really quickly. Almost every time I step back in, there will be some people who have already been released, and sometimes some people who have been called up. We did have a call up tonight in Vanity Project, so
A couple of them actually, because also Keanu Carver.
Keanu Carver. So
made his appearance very well known tonight.
Yep. Don't want to bury that story yet. So I'll throw to you for the main event: Joe Hendry versus Dion Lennox. Tony D'Angelo involved. Let me know what you thought about that, and we'll probably get to Keanu Carver not too long after.
It was about what I expected, really. With OTM backing Hendry, you knew there was going to be a face-off between OTM and Dark State, which there was, obviously. Again, it wasn't. I thought it was a good amount of plunder used with it, as you said, the chairs and the kendo stick. Well, yeah, kendo sticks, and then of course the officially licensed Slim Jim brand table. Yeah, it was. I mean, the shots were good. OTM handing Joe Hendry the Nux. That was pretty fun to watch. Yeah, it was, as you said, more of an angle than an actual match, with Tony D'Angelo coming out there and basically beating up everyone in sight and all the security and all that. And as you said, being completely stone-faced while doing so.
Yeah, somebody there wants Tony D to happen so badly. Sean, I suspect, but I just feel like the only time I've ever really been into his act was when he was the heavy and Stax was doing the heavy lifting in their tag team. I thought that was the best run, the best role for Tony D. I understand that they see somebody they think looks like a main eventer. They want him to be a main eventer. I just don't think this guy's it. I think he's a big guy who looks good, and then there's not a lot beneath the surface. And I hope that there is something waiting, because he was off TV for a while. I hope that there's something that is really going to be interesting about Tony D this time. But just being a tweener that beats people up isn't enough. It's going to have to be followed up with something. And not just because you always need to follow up, but because Tony D's pretty damaged. He's taken a lot of losses. He was in a gimmick that was genuinely unbelievable, which they have finally gotten rid of, which is the babyface mafia. But he looks like everything that they want him to look like. He's just I just don't know. I don't know. I want him to be the next one to prove me wrong, to have been on to hound the guy and then find out there's something in there that is really special. But with this run, we still got to wait and see. So let's talk about Keanu Carver. We opened the show with some stuff from New Year's Evil. Got the announcement there will be a championship ladder match 3 weeks from tonight. And in the next 2 weeks, there will be qualifying matches. Now, I think Ricky Saints was suggesting that he's going straight to the ladder match, and that he will be able to just watch the matches next week. Next week, we will have Sean Legacy versus Eli Knight. Interesting to put Eli Knight into the deep end like this right away, but they did lose some talent, so you got to dig a little bit deeper and elevate some guys. And we'll also have Josh Briggs versus Shiloh Hill, which I think could be a pretty entertaining, hard-hitting match. And I look forward to seeing what they have in store for that one, because I can see good reasons for both guys to move forward. Ricky Saints got some mic time here, really talked himself up and told Ava to hand him the championship. Keanu Carver, a guy I've been waiting for a while, finally made his presence known and destroyed everyone. The only guy he couldn't beat in Evolve was Jackson Drake. So Jackson Drake has been the champion on Evolve wire to wire during this version of Evolve. He's the only men's champion so far, and they've only had 2 women's champions. But Keanu Carver was given a very strong visual as he handled everybody and was the only man standing as every single person was laid out somewhere on the ground. So Keanu's also kind of a tweener. They can do badass babyface with him. They can do straightforward heel with him. I think either way will be very, very strong. He just really, really fits either mold. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's doing. And I think he's on the very short list, 5 or 6 guys who could actually come out of February 3rd as the champion if they fast track him. They may not even plan to put him in one of these matches, but if they do put him in one of these matches, I think he'll win it. But anyway, opening segment and Keanu Carver's introduction. What did you think?
It was spectacular. They obviously see something in Carver. Who was it that he launched into the crowd? I mean, he didn't throw this guy into the barricade. He threw him over the barricade and into what I assume had to have been plants in there in the crowd. But I mean, he was throwing people around like rag dolls out there, like I've never seen anyone get thrown before. So they obviously something really big. And I have too, and Keanu Carver again, he's been one of the people that's been there with Evolve from the beginning, and they pushed him as a monster there. And I often compared him actually to Obafemi. So because he's just his monstrous size and the taking him prisoner attitude. But yeah, he's I did not expect to see him tonight, but I was quite pleased.
Yeah, the comparisons to Obafemi are, I think, a little strong and premature. I understand what people are seeing on a simple sight standpoint. Dashing Derek Mitchell said that he looks like a combo of Obafemi and Jasper Troy. And I can see that for somebody who has not seen Keanu Carver yet. And in the chat, I'm seeing like Ryan Solorio saying, first time seeing Carver, so I'm intrigued. And And I would say just watch Evolve, but I know you're all watching so much wrestling already.
Mhm.
I get it, and I can't strong arm anybody to watch more wrestling than they are, because I wish I had more hours in the day that I could just give to wrestling, and there are only so many. But I am intrigued by what's happening in Evolve, and what the pipeline is doing. It's just very interesting to me, which is why I'm the NXT guy in the first place. So yeah, Carver looks a little like Femi. He doesn't have quite the strength of presence of Femi. I think Femi can just stand there and be the coolest man in the room. Keanu's really got to hype up the intensity, and he can. But Femi for me is just on another level of superstardom that I just, if they fail Femi, I just don't know what I'm going to think of this company.
That's really, that should be a can't miss. I mean,
Yeah, I believe so too. And I'm seeing a lot of, people are saying the things they always say online. They're saying you don't want to do it too fast. Don't make Femi the champion right away. I think, you know what? Make Femi the champion right away.
I'll
I
tell you,
actually believe in him that much.
the first thing I thought, Kelly, the first thing I thought after I saw Drew McIntyre win that WWE championship from Cody Rhodes is, hmm, who has a beef with Drew
Yeah,
McIntyre?
right.
Oh, but
Yeah,
Femi does. That
yeah.
would be a great
Everybody's
challenger.
everybody's saying that Braun Breaker is a lock to win the Royal Rumble, and I'm sure that's being talked about. But I would definitely say that Oba has a non-zero chance of winning the Royal Rumble. If nothing else, he's going to get the Diesel spot. You know that.
Hmm.
He's gonna launch a lot of guys out, win or lose. He's gonna get rid of 6 or 7 guys.
Hmm.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that, because I'm not a guy who likes the great big giant um, just destroyer very often. But Oba's just a different breed, and I just love him so. I could go on for so much, but you maybe talk about NXT, since that's what I'm here to do. Um, yeah, so Carver, he's got a long way to go to be there, and I don't think that he has, 1 in a million guys at most look like, one in a lot more than a million guys look like Oma Femi. So but yeah, Carver I think is somebody worth being excited about. So definitely into that opening scene. Um let's go to the other championship match here. Oh wait, no, there were two that we haven't done. Shiloh Hill versus Stax. This is for the TNA International Championship. Probably very thrilling for TNA guys that 2 non-TNA guys are wrestling for it on a show that is not TNA. But oh well, it's a secondary championship. Whatever. 10 minutes and 27 seconds. Stax is still your champion. Ariana Grace got involved quite a bit, and she cheated Shiloh in the end by doing the old, they don't do this spot very often, where somebody on the outside pushes the pile and it reverses the small package and the other guys on top. It's something they used to love to do in the late 80s and all through the 90s. But Stax still your champion over Shiloh Hill. Yeah, anything on oh yeah, and then Shiloh Hill told a story about waking up hibernating squirrels. I could listen to Hill tell any story, but how lucky am I that all his stories are super friggin' weird? I don't care if they're real. I hope that there's a shred of truth to them, because that makes it funnier. I just love listening to this man talk, and I could do it for the entirety of a 2-hour show. I would be like, how is the show over already? But Stacks over Shiloh Hill in 10:27, David.
I agree with you. I can listen to Shiloh Hill. I can listen to him all night. He's such a goofball, but he's such a genuine goofball. And you really, it's not, even though the stories are outlandish, it's not hard to believe it. Just he's got great delivery. He has it on the microphone. He has it down. And he's entertaining to watch in the ring too. He's really good. I mean, I it was hard to see unless you really watched it a few times. But I think it was like a shooting star senton. Was it not that he does in the middle of the ring there? That's the best way I could describe it. But he's got
Yeah,
some moves. For a big man, for a man his size, he's got some moves, and probably the most unique fire up I've ever seen. I grew up watching Jerry Lawler drop that strap. We've seen, we've seen that before. And now we get to see Shiloh Hill pull out the tooth, and you know that it's on and business is about to pick up, as JR used to say. But yeah, Shiloh Hill always entertaining. I wouldn't have minded seeing him actually. I wouldn't have been surprised to have seen him win this, but I don't think they're quite through with Stax and Ariana yet. Entertaining match, really entertaining.
Yeah, I really like Shiloh in the ring, and I was worried I wouldn't because I like him so much on the mic, and I did not know what to expect because I don't watch LFG because everybody's got to sacrifice something, and although I'm not sacrificing Evolve, I am sacrificing LFG. So cool stuff there. And yeah, we're getting Shiloh Hill's story about the squirrels sold me, LOL, from Ryan Solorio. And Goodfella says standing senton was surprising and cool. Derek Mitchell said something I have definitely also been thinking. Shiloh Hill facially looks like Bray Wyatt. Yeah, and there was something about the backstage segment and the way he was lit that made him look more so tonight. So I figured I wasn't the only one thinking so, but it came up right afterward here from Derek on the chat. So there's probably a lot of people thinking that. So what a bonus that he's a crazy guy too, and those comparisons will probably not stop because we see that kind of thing. Just very interesting. This guy who's not related to them at all and has not referenced them at all. Those comparisons are going to be hard to ignore, I think.
It has a surprisingly similar gift of gab too.
Yeah. And telling stories in bizarre ways. Shiloh, if anything, has the more straightforward stories. He's absurd, but he just doesn't rise to the level of absurdity that that Bray, that Wyndham was going for. You can email us at PWTorch NXT 8, not 8YB, PWTorch NXT at gmail.com. This is from Kevin Catani. Greetings and salutations, gents. I hope this email finds you well. I don't know about you, but despite the main event shenanigans, I still believe in Joe Hendry. That out of the way, I'm excited to see how this ladder match shapes up, and it seems like some good things are cooking for the women. It will be very interesting to see what man steps up into the vacuum left by Oba. Who are your one or two male competitors to keep an eye on, titles notwithstanding? Who is your favorite in the women's three-way tag? I'm feeling good things from RenQCC. That's all for now. Thanks as always. Go VIP and listen to 8YB. Office hours are now over. The Professor, Kevin P. Catani, PhD. My short list of men to keep your eye on are going to be, well, Carver now is a no-brainer. I mean, it's almost a cheat to say him because we know how much they like him after the way they brought him in. I couldn't believe he wasn't brought in earlier, but it does make sense that they waited until there wasn't so much of a logjam at the top with Femi and Evans and guys getting called up. I think it was wise to put that on ice for a bit. As far and the other ones to keep your eye on. Nobody surprising, I don't think. I came away with the show. Came away from the show shot. Miles Bourne has a shot, but if Bourne wins, I think he'll do it as a heel. I think that there is a chance that Ricky Saints will go through, but I think that's almost too obvious. And I just think that Ricky could also be tapped to the main roster soon, unless they just decided we got too many people to get over at once. Let's not spoil this by bringing up one more. And Tony D is somebody that they could put in the top spot, but they would really have to justify why. So there you go, Pile Driver Pete. We did talk about him already. He says, hello, everyone joining late. Do you all believe in Tony Taker? He would have to have a personality to be Taker. He was, he's just standing there kind of staring. I mean, the Undertaker, you got away with it because he was dead. With Tony, he's just dead-eyed. I I don't believe in Tony Taker like at all. Um, so as far as the 3-way tag, I will give my answer. I think this will be Ren QCC 2. I don't think it matters because I don't think they will win the Knockouts tag titles, but they've won just about every other title there, so maybe they will. I suppose you don't have the ability to look at this email, but yeah, 1 or 2 male competitors to keep an eye on. And who do you think's winning that 3-way tag, David?
Yeah, I got to agree with surprise Keanu Carver. That could be a breakout surprise. I could definitely see that. Um, and I mean Tony D, just because of the way they're positioning him. I mean we've even seen him lurking in the background, unannounced. Well, we did tonight. I don't know if you noticed, but early in the show, you saw him walking behind Ava. The announcers, nobody even mentioned it, but they've got something big planned for him, but they've got to come up with something more than this silent assassin kind of stuff. We don't know anything. Last time we saw him, he was still doing the mafia shtick and ending that, and now his beard has grown 6 more inches, and but what else has happened to him, and why should we care, as you say? Um, and again, I do think if Miles Bourne were to do it, I agree with you. He would. He seems to be on the path to making a heel turn out of frustration. Um, I don't think any of the obvious people will be involved. I think Ricky Saints. He doesn't really need it, to be honest with you. And you know, I really haven't given it that much thought. I might have more of an opinion on it later after some of these qualifying matches take place, and we can kind of see who who they seem to be high on.
Yeah. So I was going to jump off of the point, and I forgot what the point was. But what are you going to do? In the chat, Derek Mitchell says, I'll continue to say this. NXT has showcased a lot of young black talent that can be called up to the main roster, which is TV ready. Yeah, and not just NXT, but Evolve. There's more guys waiting in the wings. I've been talking about that for a while. And Carver was my main guy, but I would say there are at least 3 or 4 black women down there that really, really could do something special. Some that aren't even super showcased yet. Like I'm a big backer of Layla Diggs. I think she could be interesting. Chantel Monroe's got a nice character. She's got to work on delivery a little bit, but in the ring she's pretty well there. And they are not alone. There's just they're well stocked. Yeah, Callie Armstrong is my favorite. Callie Armstrong is my favorite. My favorite Evolve talent overall so far. I just really like her. I like her on the mic, and there's just a coolness to her that is evident that she does not have to fake. Ryan Solorio says Kelly is Tyra May Steele ready. I would say probably not, based on what I've seen so far. I don't think there's any reason to rush her. And it was tough that she got thrown into the deep end with that U.S. versus Canada thing, where Chelsea Green was involved, and the crowd was just not what they were going for, but seemingly inevitable with 2 very, very young talents, and then Chelsea just being somebody who gets like these cheers because she's hilarious. So I think that probably set back Tyra a little bit, but yeah, that's a lot. Derek Mitchell says, I'm surprised Ethan Page didn't vocalize about becoming the next NXT champion unless I missed it. He actually did. So at the beginning of that segment, he said that he went to Ava and said that he wanted to be the NXT champion. And she said, well, if you do that, you'll have to vacate the NXT North American Championship because I'd strip you of it anyway, which isn't really true because she didn't do that to Stephanie Becaire, but let's just ignore that. But she said that to Paige and then said, and furthermore, you're going to be defending against Elio Lefleur, which is a name I'm going to have a lot of fun saying for the rest of my life, or for the rest of the time that he is called Elio Lefleur. So
you say his name better than Michael Cole says Stephanie Becaire's name.
Well, you know, the bar being set where it is. I like Cole pretty well, but there are gaps in the game every now and then. But anyway, we might as well go there. Elio LaFleur with his little hype segment and the story he told. You know, he probably said what wrestler is the one who awarded him with the mask, but he said that right away, and I missed it because I was typing. And then he never said the wrestler's name who ran the camp again. So if anybody in the chat can tell me,
I missed that too, quite honestly.
Was this somebody like Mystico or Mascara Dorada or something like that who did this camp? I don't know, but he was awarded the mask, and now he is the French luchador. There you go. So he will be facing Ethan Page. This seems on the surface like another notch in Ethan Page's belt, but it also could free him up to be the next NXT champion. I mean, they could, because we're not thinking about Page because we've just totally tied him to the NXT North American Championship, but he easily could be losing. He could be losing up next week, and they could be really trying something big with LaFleur, who obviously they like too because they gave him a fairly long vignette by NXT standards. So, yeah, anything on LaFleur and Ethan Page?
Well, obviously, I've never seen anything of LaFleur other than what I've seen on NXT TV the last 2 weeks. You can tell by the production and the way it was filmed that they think very highly of him. They showed some brief clips of him wrestling, and he does definitely look very impressive. So I am very much actually looking forward to his debut. And I did not give that much thought, but yeah, I think that would be a good way to shake things up, possibly, because really there's no one on the horizon that's a threat to Page at the moment. So that would be a nice little surprise to have, hey, let's bring the new kid in and have him, turn everything upside down. And it would be fun. It would be super fun to see Ethan Page melt down over it completely too. Because he is so entertaining. If you were to get him and Shiloh Hill in a promo contest, oh my gosh, that would be just too good to be true. But yeah, they're obviously high on him, and I think Page would make a good candidate to for it. I'd love to see him as NXT champion. He is I think the best heel in the company right now, period. Not even, and I'm even counting the main roster. He just has this snarky look. You just want to see someone slap him across his mouth. And, he's so smart alecky, and I'm enjoying the banter between him and Haven. Offering him a spot in a qualifying match if he'll just hand over the North American title. You'd have to give it up anyway after you win the NXT title, right? Yeah, he wasn't buying into that. So, but yeah, some nothing really obvious happening here, but enough happening to keep me curious as to what I want to see this. I want to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I'm with you on Page. He's also that rare heel who is not trying to be cool. He is he's letting himself look like an ass and be an ass, and just using his punchable face and his words against him. He's doing everything that a heel is supposed to do, but heels that just don't want to do it very often. Derek Mitchell adds, Ethan Page is a very much like an old school cocky heel with a hint of comedy. Yeah, you can get away with a little. Bobby Heenan actually got away with a lot and still made people want to see him get run off, get beat up, and he didn't usually get beat up unless it was a pay-per-view, but on those pay-per-views, he would just get throttled. And people would just eat it up. Because you just spent so long waiting for that moment to happen. So, and Ryan Solorio says, I want Paige to go up so bad with Chelsea Green, LOL. Yeah, that partnership has been so good for both of them, but how much time is there for it on TV if they're not in the same place? That does make it very tough. So yeah, I like that pairing too. It's the most I've ever liked Chelsea. Obviously, longtime listeners will know that my relationship with Chelsea is fraught. That I just don't like her in the ring. I can't imagine at this point I ever will. But I like what she does in every other way so well that as long as she's just wrestling safe matches now, which she is and wasn't always,
Yeah,
then that's good enough for me.
I think Chelsea Green. I compare her. I would compare her a lot to handsome Jimmy Valiant, someone who is passable, barely passable in the ring, but just such a great character that it just really makes up for everything. I mean, there's nothing special about Chelsea in the ring, but she's got that personality that more than makes up for it, in my opinion. But as far as the call up to the main, I don't. What would they do with her? They're not doing the mixed tag thing up there on the main roster. You know, the Punk and AJ versus Becky and Seth. That was a one off. They could only go so. I think they could only go so far with that shtick on the main roster. I think it should stay with NXT.
Yeah, good call on Valiant for the 10 to 15% of us who still remember Valiant. um, but
Not to give
I'm
away my
among
age
them.
or anything, but I guess it just did.
Yeah. I caught the tail end of him. That was it. Like he was just a name I knew, but the tape is out there, worth looking at. In terms of again, a guy who knew what the role of a heel was. That's that guy. So thanks as always. Kevin Catani kind of covered some stuff that I didn't know I was going to cover right away that I could cross off. Lola Vice versus Kalani Jordan. These two match up so well. 11 minutes and 26 seconds. Lola Vice wins this one. Kalani tries to win by grabbing the ropes. Heels were all about trying to grab the ropes today, but she got caught, jawed with the ref, and then she got the back fist to the face. The back fist is one of those things that looks so impressive and looks like it would hurt so much, and it's a good, loud finisher that it works in that way. But it also seems like something Lola could do literally almost any time. That's the only thing that kind of hurts it for me is that there's no difficulty about getting in position for the back fist. So why isn't she doing it 3 seconds into the match? So that is like my only one rant about a finisher that I really, really like. But at any rate, she beats Kalani Jordan. And I love Kalani Jordan. I'd rather she won this match, but it seems like Lola is somebody that they've run hot and cold with her a lot. I think they know what she can bring and that she can wake up a segment of the fandom really well. So, and she also made her interest in the NXT North American champion. She wants to challenge Izzy Dame. So, and I guess we'll roll Izzy into this. I thought Izzy was pretty good on the mic today. And then Tatum, of course. Tatum's not done with her. There's apparently a rubber match coming. So on Lola and Kalani and Izzy and Tatum, David.
As far as Lola and Kalani go, Kalani Jordan is on my top three list of top female talent that are not currently on the main roster, along with Sol Ruka and Kendall Gray. Kalani Jordan, I think what we see of her right now, I think that's almost as good as we're going to get, and that's not a bad thing in this case because Kalani Jordan is spectacular in the ring, and I'm always impressed by her. Lola Vice maybe a little bit less so, but yeah, I agree with Real Legend. That back fist did look really, and she always makes that back fist look great. I mean, it looked like it literally knocked Kalani's head off. So that was, a great finisher. Why she can't pull it out, 3 seconds into the match? I mean, I don't know. Um, I don't think we've really seen the last of these two. But I think they did very well together. And what was the other point you were asking about there, Kelly?
Izzy Dame and Tatum
Izzy Dame.
Paxley. Yep.
I think Izzy probably talked for a minute longer than she had to. It seemed like she was kind of searching for words there at the end, waiting for Tatum to come out. She got her point across, though. Everything was all part of her evil plot, including, everything fell into place according to her plan. She's smarter than everybody else, so on and so forth. So, uh, interesting that she wasn't out there with Sean Spears and Nico Vance.
Yeah, they were there in the back. They helped her find her way to the ring, which she apparently had to walk a very long way to because they showed her walking at the beginning of the show, showed her walking an hour later, and then she was inside the ring. So in my mind, she was just doing laps around the place, and maybe she tired out the two guys, and they're like, "You got this."
Yeah,
Um,
possibly. But
yeah.
yeah, Tatum Paxley, always, again, always entertaining. I would not be sad to see them continue on with this feud, not at all. Um, so that, I mean, I thought maybe they might be done with it after last week, after Tatum beat her, clean, and then, hey, okay, Dame gets her heat back by going back out and winning a championship. But yeah, as you said, apparently they're not done with this, so we'll have to see where it goes from here.
Pile Driver Pete says Izzy seems pretty comfortable on the mic. Yeah, she does now. Um, that wasn't the case at the beginning. They didn't give her any mic time at all when she was the heavy for Kiana James, which seems like it happened in a different timeline, a
Eons
different
ago.
universe. Um, just seems like a very very long time ago that whole thing was going on.
It had to
But
have
on
been a
the
couple of years ago, probably, right?
Oh yeah, definitely a couple years. I think it was a couple years ago that Kiana was called up, which is crazy because she spent so much of that time hurt.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, hasn't and she was the big surprise of the draft. They pulled her up in like the third round or something like that. And there were just a few NXT people drafted, and one of them was Blair Davenport, who they did not use for very long at all.
Yep.
Yeah, weird,
And the
weird
other one
draft
was
there.
Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, that was that year. That's right, because
Yeah.
he was.
And
Um,
which they started out, really, I was very disappointed in how they started out with him immediately jobbing to Cody Rhodes, but they've turned him around quite a bit, and he is finding his way right now.
yeah, and he was told that he was going to have to be patient for things to happen for him, kind of to take a little bit of time. And he said that he was glad he was told that because it made it so much easier. When he won the Andre Battle Royal, I called it. I actually called the Final Four, and I called the winner. I won a big pool on that particular parlay because I got all four of the Final Four, and then I said that Mello was going to win the thing. Um, but yeah, it's cool seeing his ship come in to the level that it has. Tavian Heights versus Jasper Troy. This one went 407. Tavian is big, Jasper is bigger. That's your story, folks. Lexus King attacked Tavian Heights afterward. I love Tavian Heights in the ring. I love the strong style stuff he's doing. I just want him to connect more on some level. Jasper Troy, I feel like, was a lot better than the last time I saw him already. So it's a short match. So I don't know what Jasper's doing out there in 12 minutes, but in this particular length of match, I think right now it's suiting him really well because he was real clean in this one. Troy over Heights in 407.
Yeah, definite improvement with Troy. Heights, he has it. He has it all in the ring. He just needs to grow a personality, and that's the only thing holding him back right now. He's got the talent. He just needs to find the right character. Which, thankfully they've dropped that Olympian stuff because that has been done to death, and I think that hurt Tyra May Steele, as you were talking about earlier. Putting her in that category as a female Kurt Angle there too. So let's do away with the Olympia stuff. It didn't work. Let's move on to something else. Find something else for Tavion. He's got the talent. He's a little refinement in the character development department.
Yes, indeed. And Derek Mitchell adds, "There's someone watching Nick Cage movies with these names like Jasper Troy." Yeah, it's kind of the random tough guy generator name, I suppose. But they have not had any shortage of those over the years. All right,
Can we say
where
Sean Legacy?
Sean Legacy? That is, I think Sean Legacy was the name he gave himself. I think that is actually the name he uses on the Indies.
Oh,
Um,
really?
I'd have to look to find out, but he's a WWE ID guy, so I think
Yeah.
he is one of the ones who actually is using his name. Two of the three guys from Vanity Project are using their real names, so as they have also done on the
Oh,
Jackson Drake.
one of them's got to be
Jackson,
Ricky Smokes, right?
yeah, Smokes is the only one that's not. Yeah, but Brad Baylor and Jackson Drake, those are their government names. Okay, I wrote down Dark State. They're still a thing. That was basically what that segment was. Then they were in the main event, which I had already forgotten. Vanity Project got called up, and Keanu Reeves scared him off. Kelly Kincaid talked to Ricky Saints. Stax and Ariana showed up. This was funny because Saints was like, "Hey man, your girl helped you win the match, but you won the match and you still got the girl." And then he shook his head and he ran off. And the audience got quite a kick out of that. So again, you can't be too funny all the time, but Saints is just so much more at home in this role. So we haven't talked
Yes.
too much about Saints, but just any commentary on what he's doing right now.
Yeah, Saints again. I said it earlier. Saints is so much better as a cocky heel. I buy this so much more than I do the babyface character. And backing up just a little bit, the Vanity Project, the version of it, the refined version of it that you're seeing on NXT after they dropped a little bit of dead weight, is pure gold. I mean, again, harking, and this is why they make a good pairing with Paige, because they all have this snarky, and especially Brad Baylor. Just hearing the name alone makes me want to punch something. And then you see the face coupled with the name, and there's no doubt that you want to punch him like multiple times in the face. And they're these ridiculously cocky. They seem like they're talking about, oh, can you imagine the chicks are going to run across here in NXT, and just this cringe-worthy type office type humor that you're like, oh my god, no. But they're great heels, and the way they scattered when the way they scattered when Keanu walked through is like turning the lights on in a room full of mice and watching them all just scatter to the wind. And then Saints, he had a great line, as he said with Stacks. And it's like, you still got the girl, you know.
Yep. Loved that. And yeah, I'll pile on for Vanity Project. Pile Driver Pete says, I can see Vanity Project becoming a big hit with me, entertaining bunch. Yeah, as David said, they did have two other members. They had a girl, she was all right. They had a guy, he was
Not
okay in
all
the
right.
ring as a tall guy, but he was just on the mic. They tried something and it wasn't there. He had a weird run where he was actually in the main event of the only thing resembling a PLE that they've done, and then he was released like a week later. So it was they gave him his big match there, and that was that. Brad, the first time I saw him talk was not good, and I don't know what he did between the first time and the second time I heard him talk, but I was just like, no, he's perfect, and I just want to see him get beat up. He's really funny. Smokes is the designated funny one. Smokes now is the dumb one. He wasn't always that, but they've made him the dumb one, and he's really, really good at it. And Brad just kind of a self-involved buffoon, and Jackson Drake just like the narcissist Jackson Drake, basically. They're yeah. I don't know what their ceiling is, but I think it would be criminal if these guys didn't win at least a couple of tag titles on the main
And
roster someday.
they are another couple of guys too. Not only are they gold on the mic, but they've got it in the ring too. They remind me very, very much of a young version of the Midnight Rockers or the Rock and Roll Express,
Sure.
the Midnight Express. Some of these classic teams that had their teamwork a down to a finesse, and they are really very. And I know you're not seeing much of them in the ring in NXT yet, but once you do, I guarantee you'll be impressed by them. They have a lot of potential, and these two need to stay together for a very, very long time. I could see them, after getting some more experience, and maybe even getting um, getting a little more experience there. I could see them going to the main roster and winning tag team titles easily. They're that good.
There was one other big return tonight. Blake Monroe was out there doing her thing. Just she's real good at being snotty, and of course there's just a segment of lonely guys in the crowd just trying to clap the loudest for her. But she's doing everything she can to stay heel. And then Jada Parker comes out to a thunderous response, which she deserves. So very, very happy to see Jada again, and she was very happy. She blew a kiss to the crowd, and that is not necessarily a Jada Parker the character thing to do, but I can see her being overcome by that moment, and people really, really ready to see her back. Because when you come back, sometimes you don't know how much the crowd missed you, and I think it was clear that the crowd missed her. So she laid out Blake, hit her with Hypnotic, but yeah, that was yeah. So they've done heel, they've done tweener with her. They haven't really done pure babyface. They kind of did badass babyface for a small amount of time before they decided they wanted to lean her heel for a certain amount of time. But if they want her to be pure babyface, put her against Blake Monroe. That is the perfect way to use Monroe's heel cachet to elevate somebody as a babyface. And Ryan Solorio says Jada Parker could rejoin OTM since all three are currently baby faces. Yeah, not like I would have guessed, but yeah, I like her a lot, and I'm very psyched she's back. So anything on Monroe and Parker?
Jada Parker got a Road Warrior pop tonight. I mean, yeah, when you said the crowd erupted, they erupted in Miss Parker chants, and I mean loud, very loud. And Jada, and then she seemed, and it's one of those instances of first of all, absence making the heart grow fonder, and also if they want to do a baby face run with her, as you said, Monroe Blake is a perfect foil for her, and she needed some time away. She needed some time away to kind of distance herself from what she has been. She's not even come close to living up to her full potential yet. She is a star. She will be a star. I can see her at the top of the main roster. But yeah, the fans ate it up. She looked like she was having a blast being back. And it was a fun segment. It was great to see.
Yeah, I got to be in the crowd for one Jada Parker match, that being her match with Lola Vice. That was that they didn't have the ropes. It was kind of like billed as an actual fight at Deadline a couple of deadlines ago.
Oh, the underground thing, right?
Yeah, and Wade and I were in about the ninth row, which seems great, except it's ninth row floor seating, and they were in a match where they just grappled on the floor the whole time, so we saw nothing. And when the match ended, we didn't know who won until Lola Vice's music played. So not ideal if you're going to sit on the floor and there's a match that is all on the ground. You pretty much need to be in the first row. Anything else is just not going to cut it. And the ninth row was definitely not cutting it. Derek Mitchell says, I keep hitting the wrong button. There's something about women paired with men in NXT that seem to get them over and have more success on the main roster, like Carmella, Alexa Bliss, and possibly Jada Parker. And in all three of those cases, more over than the men they were paired with. And had more staying power than the men they were paired with. And Enzo and Cass had their things, so they kind of hastened their own exits. But Alexa, Alexa is one of NXT's best success stories from just coming in super green and then in a very small amount of time figuring it out and figuring out both major aspects of wrestling really, really quickly. There you go. Steve Repsher says, all these women on the show, and there wasn't really any talk about who's next up to face JC, was there? Not really, because the one scene where they would have done that, they instead used to promote the triple threat tag. Well, we assume a triple threat tag leading to the winner getting a shot at the TNA Knockouts tag titles. And I don't think they mentioned who the TNA Knockout champion tag champions are, and I don't know, so I can't help you.
I don't either.
Yep. So I don't think there was any talk about who's facing JC. We got
Gray
Izzy,
mentioned it. Kendall Gray did mention it right before that segment when they were standing at the door. She mentioned it to Ren, but that was really immediately, as you said, they immediately shifted into talk about the TNA Knockouts tag team titles. So.
And the chat immediately comes through and says the Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconic, are the tag team champions, because who else would be? I mean, if you've got those two, why anyone else other than to get it back to the Inspiration eventually? So Pile Driver Pete says Sol Ruka should eventually take the title. Maybe, or she should maybe just go up. I don't think everybody has to hold the title before they go up. It doesn't seem like Javon Evans is going to do that. I don't think everybody needs to. I mean, certainly she's good enough to be put in that spot, and I think it would be fine. I actually still don't like Sol on the mic that much, but she's so good in the ring, I kind of don't care. I don't know if she needs to hold that championship beforehand, but if she's going to be there another year, then give her that championship, see how she responds to that.
And they already gave her a win over Bayley, so
that's true. So why slow roll her now? I think that is about everything that happened in the show. Chase U appeared. Good for them. Remember when they used to matter? That seems like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Miles Bourne, we more or less talked about him, even though we didn't really talk about the segment. So anything else you are dying to get off your chest about tonight's show?
Bourne seems angry. So, yeah, I think he's starting to take to heart what Ethan Page told him. Definitely going to see a heel turn there. Lexus King continues to be underutilized, in my opinion. Great character, and he can go in the ring. He looks like he's actually gotten in a little bit better shape here recently too, and hopefully they can find something to do with him, because I think he's super talented. I have no idea. I haven't given too much thought lately as to who would step up to JC Jane. Right now, Fatal Influence seems to be running in high gear once they got rid of Jasmine Nixon and added Lainey Reed. For the follow-up to for the fallout to New Year's Evil, not a bad show. I'm really excited to see how the men's championship picture plays out. That should be a great ladder match. Don't have a clue who might be involved in it yet, except for some of the main guys that we've already talked about. But some good things coming up, and I gotta admit, I really like how Obafemi vacated the title. We didn't hear a single word from him. Nothing. We didn't even see him put the belt down in the ring. We just, Robert Stone acting petrified, and they go back to the shot and the belt's there, and they're like, what's going on? And no word from him at all. So, some of the move ups, we're seeing some move ups from Evolve to NXT and from NXT to the main roster. Some of you who have not watched Evolve or not watched NXT but are watching the main roster, you're gonna see what we've been talking about with some of these NXT guys and some of these Evolve guys and girls.
Just a couple more things in the chat. I was asked specifically, Kelly, what do you think of Finley's other kid coming to NXT? I don't know how his other kid wrestles really. I mean, I can make some guesses, but of course I see David Finley on a regular basis because I watch everything that they do in New Japan. And David Finley was cast in a tough spot. He was a really nice, really likable underdog babyface, and then they made him the leader of the Bullet Club, which always has a foreigner as the head of the Bullet Club, and they didn't really have anybody else after losing the guys that they lost, Kenny Omega most recently, and he was thrust into a role he was maybe not ready for, so that's kind of tough for him. He's finding his way kind of now in a new merged faction. I think they're calling it Unbound. But they've only just mentioned that on the last show. And I think that will be better casting for him. But anyway, I don't know how the other kid wrestles, and I can't think of his first name now. I know it's something interesting, but I can't think of what it is. But yeah, it'll be something. So, and then I was also asked, you guys watching TNA on AMC this Thursday? They're advertising NXT involvement and also advertising AJ Styles. I mean, in a world where I could watch everything, maybe, but I will be in Dallas at the card show and still slinging cards at that hour. So I would have to check it out late, and I just don't know if I'll be able.
I will catch it, and I'm an old TNA guy. I go back to I was covering the old NWA TNA Wednesday night pay-per-views for the Torch back in the day, and that's a long time ago. So I've been a TNA guy for a long time, but I kind of lost them when they went into the broadcasting purgatory of wherever it is. And I think they're on Axis, which I still don't know if that's like even available on my satellite company or not. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in checking it out and seeing it now that it's actually going to be on a channel that I've heard of and that I can tune into.
Okay, well, thank you again, Chad, for a huge. Okay, this blows my mind. This is not the kind of thing that used to get by me, but Brogan Finley is Uriah Connors. I did not know that. I did not know that Uriah Connors was a Finley. After all this time, that got by me. And you were asking about David Finley making it over. Like, is that an imminent thing? Is he going to do that?
How can you miss the connection between? How can you miss the connection between Finley and Uriah Connors? I mean, they look so much alike, and they just wrestle so similarly.
Actually, I will say that the one person that Uriah Connors does look like is David Finley. Those brothers really look like brothers,
really?
even though they don't necessarily look.
I've never seen
like,
David. I've not seen David yet.
Oh wow, that's crazy to me for anyone not to know David Finley. But some people don't watch any New Japan, and that's
you're gonna have to turn me on to New Japan here, Kelly.
Oh, if I haven't yet, I don't know how. I have watched every New Japan match other than a few meaningless opening tags, and I mean just a few in the last 8 years. So, yeah, and Ryan Solorio says apparently his contract is up. So, yeah, if they want him, I'm sure they'll go after him, and they got the money to get him. Who knows? I mean, New Japan has taken a lot of losses, but Finley, as much as they like him, he's not like a tippy top guy. And they got other names that they're really, really pushing right now. And it seems like Finley is just kind of in that weird upper mid card, no man's land where he's not losing, but he's not beating anybody overly meaningful. So there you go, folks. I don't do this so I can learn stuff, but I did learn stuff. Brogan Finley has been wrestling on my screen for quite a while. And I
didn't even know it.
I like Uriah Connors pretty well. So yeah, cool stuff. So that, I believe, is our show. I'm Kelly Wells. You can find me all over social media under the names Other Kelly Wells or Spooky Milk. Anything that has Spooky Milk in it, that's probably me. David, who are you?
I don't have an interesting name like that, but you can still see me on Tuesday nights when I do my all perspective report on NXT, and then the following night on Wednesday night for Evolve on Tubi, which should be a pretty good show tomorrow night, I believe, if I can remember correctly. So they've got some interesting stuff going on there.
All right, folks. That, as they say, is that. And I'm going to pack for Dallas. Cheers.